If you have an affiliate website or you feature affiliate products on your site and you're not using a format like this at the top of your posts, you're almost certainly leaving money on the table. I'm talking about a top products hero section, and they're used across the web by multi-million-dollar affiliate sites, everywhere from The Wirecutter, BobVila.com, and BestReviews.com. And the reason they use this format is because it flat out works, because the number one rule of affiliate marketing is just get the click. That's your only mission, because not everybody's going to read your 4,000 word post. Some people just want a list of the top products. They're going to click through to the site and then go do the research on their own and choose which one to buy. But if you get them to click through the links on your site first, you're going to get the sale, no matter which product they end up buying. And this layout is incredibly effective. I've added to my own sites once they hit a certain traffic threshold, and I've seen lifts of anywhere from 50% to, yes, 200% increase in revenue from high traffic posts just by adding this to the top of my articles. So today we're going to be using Elementor to design one of these for your own site. I'm going to show you how to build it from scratch using the free version of Elementor, how to add it to your posts, how to hook it into your compatible theme to make it a full width hero section across the top of your post. And then for those of you using the pro version of Elementor, how to connect it with advanced custom fields using the dynamic content feature of Elementor, where we can use one template for every single post and then just swap out the content by changing some custom field values on those posts. So let me show you what we're going to be building. We're going to be emulating this design right here from AdamEnfroy.com, home of millionaire blogger Adam Enfroy, who rose from relative obscurity to becoming a multimillionaire blogger in less than 4 years. And he did it with a combination of high leverage SEO tactics and high leverage conversion tactics, part of which is this hero section right here. So if you want to check out Adam, I'm going to link to his YouTube channel up here, and you can also find him at AdamEnfroy.com. Now, if you'd like to download the completed template that I designed in this video, it's available for free, link in the video description. And with that, let's get started building. Okay, to start our design, we're going to go to Elementor, and we're going to start right in the template. So we're going to create a new template, and we're going to make this section, call it Best Products Hero section, and we're going to create this template. And let's go ahead and just drag in a layout. Adam is using 5 cards across in his design. We're going to start with 3 so it will work inside a standard blog container, and you can expand that if needed for hero sections or if you have a wider container. So we'll make a 3-column layout, and we're going to just design 1 card, get it all styled up, and then we can duplicate it across, change the content, and then tweak the design for some of the lower ranked cards, but they're basically going to be the same. And if we look at Adam Enfroy's design here, there's a badge on top, product image, project name, just a paragraph with a blurb, a button, and a review link. So it's actually a pretty simple structure. So we can do the same thing here. So I'm going to grab in a heading for the badge, and we're going to make this a span element. And next, I'm actually going to do another heading for the brand name. And we'll center that. Grab an image. Then we need a text editor and a button. And that's basically the entire structure, and all that's left is just to style it. All right, so first let's do the brand header, and I'll throw in some text here. And we're just going to change the typography. I'm going to change the font size to maybe 24 pixels. And next we'll edit our image, and I'm going to grab an image. Grab the Bloxy logo here, and I'm going to customize the size, and you can tweak this as needed for your site. I'm going to start with 80 pixels by 80 pixels as my size, and we're going to align it to the center. Paste in some text here, and I think we'll probably center this also. Center the button, and we'll say visit website. All right, next let's give the card some background color and border. So we'll click on the column settings, and under style, I'm going to go to background type, classic, and I'm going to choose color and just paste in a color there. And then we're going to actually put a border on it here as well. And I'm going to start, let's go to solid, and we'll make it 1 pixel all the way around. And for color, I'm going to start with the same background color. And then I'm just going to drag it a little bit so it's a bit more saturated and a bit darker. And hopefully that'll be just enough to stand out. And we'll just sort of click to the side. I think that looks pretty good. And back in the column settings, I think we need some more padding. So we're going to use the 20 pixels all the way around to start. And I think maybe some border radius as well. So we'll go back to border and give a border radius of 8, and that just gives it some curvature around the edges. Okay, so that's the basic structure of our card. And now let's style some of these elements individually to give them a more polished look that really pops and really makes you want to click. Okay, we're going to start with the image, and I'm going to give it a bit of padding and kind of put a frame around the image. So we're going to click on the image here, and we're going to go to Advanced. And I'm going to put a padding, and we're going to start with, let's try 5 pixels around the start. And still under the Advanced tab, I'm going to give it a background. So I'm going to click Background, Background Type, and we're going to make it white. Now you will notice that it's filling the entire container here because the image is basically a block element. And I actually want it, the background container to be square, just like the image itself. So we need to transform or change the element type. So under Layout, we're going to go to Width, and I'm going to change this to an inline auto element. And now I'm going to have to center it too. Because it's inline, these settings no longer apply, so we have to use the column setting. So we're going to click on the column, and under Layout for the column, if we go to Horizontal Align, we can by default center all elements that have an inline width. So we're going to center, so we're going to click Horizontal Align to center. And back in our settings here, still under Advanced, we're going to give this a border. And you want to do, there's 2 places to add border to images. You can do it in the Style tab, but if I were to put a border in the Style tab, you will notice that the border is actually on the image. It's not around the pattern. It's not around the padding, and I want it on the outside of the padding. So we're going to undo that. And under the Advanced tab, I'm going to put the border around the padding. So we'll set this to solid. I'm going to give it a width of 1, and we'll give it a border radius of maybe 3. So there's a bit of curvature there. And let's just make this a little bit like a medium gray, and we can step back and see what we got here. All right, I think maybe you need to make that a bit more subtle, and we need some spacing underneath the image above the paragraph text here. So let's try that. Make this a lighter gray, and still under Advanced, under Layout, we're going to give this some bottom margin. So I'm going to unlink these values so we can specify them separately. And let's try 20 pixels to start. All right, next up, we'll style this text right here. Okay, next up, I want to create this badge, and it would be really easy to create something like this. We would just make this an inline element, give it a bit of padding and some border radius, and change the background color. And that's how you would make a badge that looks just like Adam's. But I want to do something a little bit cooler. I'm going to design a ribbon that kind of goes across the top of our card design and has a bit of a 3D effect. And let me show you how to build that now. All right, so let's add some text first. Under content, I'm just going to call this the best overall product. And next, we're going to make this an inline element, so it's not the full width of the container. It's really only as width as the text inside of it. So under Advanced, again, we're going to go to Width, Inline Auto, and you'll see that the box around our heading here now has resized itself. And just so we can see what it's going to look like, I am going to give it a background color, make it a classic background, and I'm just going to make it a goldish. I'm going to kind of eyeball what this is going to look like. Okay. And now we want to give it some padding so there's a bit of space around the text. Still under Advanced, we're going to try, I don't know, 2 pixels on top. And then we're going to unlink these values. And on the left and right, let's try 20 and see how that looks. And we can tweak as needed. Now, like I said, if you wanted to make this match Adam's, all you'd have to do is maybe put some bottom margin on here and give this a bit more padding and some border radius. Right? And that's basically the look he has. But we're going to do something cooler, so let's undo that. And what we're going to do next is we're going to make this an absolutely positioned element so we can sort of stick it to the top of our container here. So under Layout, I'm going to change the position to absolute. And you can see it automatically reorients itself. And that's because it's pegged to the left side of this container and the top of the side of the container. And you have these offset sliders here. You can drag it, the offset from the left side and as well the vertical offset. We'll leave it where it is for now. First, we need to make some space. We're going to add some extra padding at the top of our column to push our Bloxy element down. So advanced, under padding, I'm going to unlink these values, and I'm just going to add 40 pixels at the top is a good start. So what I'm going to do is, back in the settings for this under layout, we can leave that border radius for now, but I'm going to change the offset so it gets pulled just a little bit to the side. Let's say -6 pixels to start, and we're also going to pull it up a bit. Okay, we'll say, I don't know, -8 and -6. So we have this overhang now. And then we're going to create a little triangle that will give the illusion that there's a ribbon kind of wrapping around our card, and it gives it this 3D look and really pops out. And ordinarily I would do this with CSS and pseudo elements, but I know a lot of you have never really used CSS or written CSS from scratch, and I'm going to show you a cool trick. You can actually create these CSS triangles just using the spacer element with no CSS whatsoever inside Elementor. So it's going to be a little bit small, so hopefully you'll be able to see, but I'm going to try to describe it as we do this. So let's search for the spacer widget, and I'm just going to drag it in here on the bottom. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the space to 0. Next up, I'm going to give it some padding, and we want padding to be 4 pixels on all 4 sides. And finally, we're going to give it, let me give it a background color just so you can see it. And we're going to make the background color black so you can visibly see what it is. And right now it's rectangular, but if we go to layout and under width, we turn this into inline auto, now the element only becomes the width of the actual space inside the element, which if you've done the math, 4 pixels left and right is 8, 4 pixels top and bottom is 8 pixels. So this is an 8 by 8 square. And we're going to make it look like a triangle by hiding it using Z-index. So it's hiding behind this badge and hiding behind the container. So it appears to be wrapping around. So first things first, let's make this position absolute, and you'll see it instantly goes up here top left. Then we're going to tweak the offset. So we're just going to push it out to the side a bit, and we're going to push it down. Whoop, wrong direction. Push it down here and just try to line up as close as we can. And if you can see, you can probably see that it's still overlapping in front of these elements. That's not what we want. We actually want it to be behind both of these elements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the column, and under Z-index, I'm going to give it a Z-index of 1. And once we give this a Z-index of 1, we can go back to our spacer element here, and I can give that a Z-index. Let me see, where is that setting? I can give that a Z-index of -1. And now I think you can see that it just tucked itself behind this container. So now we can make it look like a triangle because everything else, every other part of the square will be hidden. And so next we are going to use the transform settings, and we're going to rotate this square so you can see it spinning around hopefully. And we're just going to kind of go like that. So it looks like a triangle. And I might have to zoom in some more here so we can see it. So it's not quite lining up, but let me see if I can grab it. And I apologize, just bear with me as we get this exactly right. But once you get this done, we only have to do this once. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Okay, you can see there's this sort of 3D effect, and it looks a little bit pronounced because the square is black, but we can actually just make it a darker shade of gold as if a shadow has kind of fallen on the inside there, and I think the effect would be pretty good. So let's just tweak the color here, and by doing that, we can go to the background color that we have set. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. We'll try this color to start. Okay. And you can mess around and get the color exactly right, how it looks best to your eye. I think this one looks fine for my needs. And I know it's a bit hard to see because of the color that we've chosen, but I'm also going to give it a 3D effect. And just under box shadow, let's see, I believe that's still under border, box shadow. And let's give it a vertical offset of 1, horizontal of 1, and maybe a blur of 3. We'll just try that. And drag the opacity down a bit just to make it this, not too in your face, but to give it some lift off the page. Okay, pretty good. And next we're going to do this button here. And the button by itself, I think the color is fine. One tweak I would like to make is to add an icon. So we're just gonna go into the button settings, and under icon, you can choose, you can upload your own, or we can use the icon library. So I'm gonna go for, an obvious thing you could do would be like an arrow. And we would switch it to after, probably like visit website, okay? But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go with the external link icon. And I don't think it looks very good right here. It looks okay, but I actually wanna align it in the top right corner, like you may have seen on some websites, where it just sort of is a little subtle hint that this is gonna be loading in another site. It's just a good signal to the user. It makes for a good user experience, so they aren't surprised when you take them off your site. Now, there's no way built into Elementor to align it up in here, so we're gonna have to use just a smidgen of CSS. Let's just add a class first, and I'll make this code available in the video description if you wanna copy it directly. So the first thing I'm gonna do is under advanced, I'm gonna give this button a class, and let's just call it, I don't know, we'll call it top products button to make it easy to style. And in terms of adding CSS, it's really easy to do if you have the pro version of Elementor because there's a custom CSS module built in. If you're using the free version of Elementor, you can actually just drag an HTML widget anywhere into your layout, put a style tag, and write your CSS between it. And I have a tutorial on my website that I'll link below that shows you exactly how to do this. But I'm using the pro version, so we're just gonna write the CSS right in here. So let's preview this on the front end. I'm gonna click update and preview it. And here's our button right here. You can see that the class that we just created, top products button, has been added to the outer wrap. And then the button itself is this A element. And inside the A element, we have this icon, and that's the element that we want to target. That's the Elementor button icon class. So inside our button here, we're gonna go to custom CSS, and let's write our rules. So we're gonna say top products button, and we're targeting the A elements, and we're also gonna have top products button, and then the Elementor button icon, I believe was the class. Those are the two rules we need. And the first one we're gonna do, just to see if I've got my selectors right, is to say font size 12 pixels. Okay, that worked perfectly. You can see that our icon here is shrunk. Next thing we need to do is make this position absolute. Now you can see that it's been taken out of the flow and it's sort of overlapping the center of our element here. So we need to tell it where to align to. So I'm gonna say top, we'll say right 0. And you can see that it's been pushed out here. Perhaps you can't see because it's white, but it's right there. And that's because the nearest element that has relative positioning is the outer container around this button, but we actually want it to be aligned inside the button. So in order to do that, we need to make the A element, which is the button itself, to have position relative. So we're gonna say position relative, and that pulls our icon right back inside. And now we just need to align it to the top as well. So we're gonna say top 0, and then we wanna bring it back a little bit diagonally into the button. So let's just say 3 pixels and 3 pixels, and you can eyeball it and figure out what looks best to your eye. I think this looks okay. And then it's a little bit too bold, so we could change the background color, but another trick is just to give it some opacity so the background color of the button shines through. And this will work, and the nice thing about this trick is even if you change the color of the button, the icon will still look good. You don't have to keep tweaking the color of the icon with CSS. So let's just say opacity 0.4. So it's just this subtle little icon up there. All right, I think our card is looking quite good. So all that we need to do is duplicate it a couple times, swap out the content, which I'll do, and zoom ahead. And then we're just gonna tweak the colors so that the badge color is a little bit different for the top product versus the rest of the one. So all I have to do is just duplicate, and we can just remove these other columns here. And one thing you may notice is that now, because there's no spacing between these cards, you have the badge is sort of overlapping the card next to it. And I don't think that looks that good. So what we need to do is just add a bit of space between each of these cards. So we would use margin for that. And let's just try 6 pixels all the way around. And we can do the same thing here, 6 pixels and 6 pixels. All right, this is our finished template, and I think it looks quite good. Now, how do you go about inserting this into your posts? Well, if you're building your post in Elementor, then all it is just inserting a template right from Elementor, and you can just swap out the images and you're good to go. If you're using the Gutenberg editor or the classic editor like I do, then we're going to be inserting these templates with a block. So you can go to Save Templates, where you've saved your template, and just grab this shortcode over here. And this is a pro feature. If you're using the free feature of Elementor, you can install a free plugin called, I think it's like Gutenberg Blocks for Elementor, something like that. I'll link it in the description. And you can simply add a Gutenberg block. I'll show you how that works. So we're going to go back to the dashboard, go to my posts, and here's just a copy of the best free themes post that I did on my website recently. So to add this template to our post, we could just simply, once you've got this plugin installed, search for Elementor, and this is the block that will pop up is the Elementor Library block. And we can choose any saved templates. We've got our best products hero section. Just insert that right there. You can see this is our sort of preview, and there's some overlap here. I think that has to do with the spacing that we set up in Elementor, and we can tweak that in our template. But for right now, let's just update this and preview it and see how it looks. So this is our product callout inside a post, and I think it looks just fine. It needs some spacing below it. So we're just going to tweak the template to add that spacing. And let's go to the section settings here, and under advanced, you can give it some margin. We'll just say 30 pixels on the top and bottom. And if I just refresh that page here, okay, I think that looks a lot better. So these are our best themes. Now, this is fine if you want to embed it in individual posts, but what if you want to do it in the hero section, sort of above the content and sidebar wrap like Adam does on his site? Well, this is really easy if you have a hook-based theme, especially a pro theme that lets you insert content into the many hook locations on your site. Just to rattle off some themes that have this: GeneratePress Pro, which I use all the time on my websites. It's what buildthatwebsite.com is built with. Blocksy Pro, Astra Pro, Cadence Pro, OceanWP Pro. All these themes have robust, easy to use hook modules. And I'm going to show you quickly how easy that is. So we're going to do it with GeneratePress. If you want to check out GeneratePress Pro, which I have a number of tutorials on the site on how to use it, there will be a link in the video description. And if you buy through my link, that does support the channel. So thank you very much for that. And if I go to my dashboard, under Appearance Elements, and you'll be able to see that I already have one set up here. I'm just going to edit it and take a look at what it is. And it's really simple. All I have is an H1 tag that is going to be inserting the post title. It dynamically pulls that, and you can see here that GeneratePress provides these template tags that will just auto pull these elements of your post and put them into the hero section. And then I've got this Elementor template ID, which is the hero section we just created. You can set up your container so it's a full width container. We'll stretch the full width of the page, but the inner content will be contained. I've set up some padding, and I've just given it a background color. So that's all I've done, and set the text color to white. And now we just have to set some display rules. So because this, our template is specific, the products are specific to one post, I need to set it to only display on that specific post. So we're just going to type display on posts. And instead of all posts, it's a specific post. I'm going to search for that exact post. And we'll click update. And if I do that, now if I go back to view this page, you can see that we have this nice hero section up in the top. Now, because we have this wider space to work with than the content container here, these cards look off. So now I might want to add a fourth or a fifth card to make this look better. And just to give you an idea of what that would look like, I can just duplicate this, save the template, and when I refresh the page, okay, I think that looks a lot better. Now, you may have noticed the one obvious weakness of this setup, and that is that you have to create a separate template for every post on your site because the products are all going to change. If you have a small site, that's fine. Maybe you do 5 or 6 posts, but if you've got a bigger affiliate site and you have to do 100 of these, it's really going to add up. It's going to be unwieldy. It's hard to manage. So I'm going to show you an amazing setup you can do where we can just use one template across all our posts, one hero section, and we're going to swap out the content dynamically by combining the power of advanced custom fields, and we're going to use the free version of advanced custom fields with Elementor Pro's dynamic content feature. All right, so if you don't already have this plugin, you can go to Add New, just first search for ACF or Advanced Custom Fields. Is Advanced Custom Fields. This is the plugin you want. So install and activate, and the free version is all we need. And once you do that, you'll see the Custom Fields dialog box show up in your dashboard. So we're going to go to Add New, say Add a new field group, and we're going to call it our Top Products Hero group. And if we look at our layout, these are the elements we have to replace. We need badge text, a product name, product image, product blurb, and a product link. That's all we need. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things basically. So we're going to start adding fields to this group. So the first thing we need is badge text. And we'll say it's text field, required, character limit, probably say like 35 characters. I don't know. You can figure out exactly how wide would be too wide for your card design. Okay, so we're going to close that field. Then we're going to add a new field. And this can be name. Again, it's a text field, required. Click close field, add another field, image. It's an image field, required, yes. Close. Top products. Text blurb. It's a text field, again, required. And finally, top product, what would we say, product link, products link. And this is going to be a, is there a URL field? URL, okay. Required, yes. So we're just going to publish this for now and see what we have. So if I go back to my post and scroll to the bottom underneath the post content, you'll see that all my fields have now showed up here. So I'm going to add in the data for a new product here. So let's just say most features. I'm going to call it Cadence as the product name, as an image. I'm going to upload Cadence logo. Okay, for my product link, I'm just going to say, and I think that last field I created by mistake, so we don't need to worry about that. So we're just going to click update. So we have all our data in here. Now, nothing is going to happen right now because we haven't connected these fields to anything. If I preview the page, it hasn't changed. But what if I connect this fields, all these fields to this last card in our template here? So I'm going to go into our template design. Now, an important step when working with dynamic content is to connect your preview with a specific post to pull the dynamic data from. Otherwise, your ACF fields will be blank when you try to connect them. So to set this up, click on the settings cog in the bottom left corner of the Elementor window. Then under preview settings, choose preview dynamic content as, select post, and then select the exact post you want to pull the data from. In this case, I'm going to use my best WordPress themes post. And now once you update and reload the page, it should be able to pull in the data properly. Okay, so here in our template, let's connect that dynamic data. So I'm going to start with the badge here. And now that we've got our preview settings all set up, I reloaded the page so I can pull in those ACF fields. And we're just going to click this dynamic tags button right here. We're going to go down and select ACF field. And now you can click on the settings here and click on a key. And what we want is the badge text. And hopefully, yep, it pulled in most features as our badge text. Next, we're going to go to the brand name, click on dynamic tags again. Once again, ACF field, settings. This time is the product name. Okay, it's pulling in cadence. For the logo, dynamic tags again, ACF image field. And again, we can choose the top product's image from our key. You can specify a fallback image if you want, but we don't need to do that in this case. It's pulled in our cadence logo and our blurb. Dynamic tags here. And finally, our link. We're going to click on here and you'll see, let's see, under the button link, which is set to nothing right now, there's dynamic tags for our link. Go to ACF URL field, settings, key, and we have our product link. So now it's pulled in all that data dynamically. And of course, you can create 4 or 5 of these little groups for your post so that you can pull all of these in dynamically. You just want to create one for each product they're going to show in your thing. And then on each individual post, you just change the data, but this single template will pull in that new data on every post so you can completely change the way it looks or the products that you're featuring, but still use just one template. Okay, and now if we view this post on the front end, you can see that our hero section is successfully pulling in our dynamic data. Okay, so you've leveled up your affiliate posts with this awesome layout. Great. Now what should you be doing next? Step number 1, I recommend you get good data using Google Analytics to see how this is exactly affecting your conversions and your revenue on a per page basis. So if you'd like to learn how to set up event and conversion tracking inside Google Analytics and assign monetary values to your affiliate link clicks, watch this video right over here. And if you're ready to start building an email list for your website to better engage your visitors and turn them into customers, watch this video over here, which will teach you how to start for free building an email list with Elementor. Now, don't forget to click that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.